Hello and welcome back to another great episode of hashtag Screw the W2. And this week's guest, Wade Critides, first met. Actually, we're both investors through Spartan Invest down in Birmingham, Alabama. We first met up about a year and a half ago, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
But anyways, with that, Wade, welcome to the show.
Hey, John, thank you for having me. Great to reconnect. That was an awesome conference. And I
Mhm.
absolutely love what you're doing here with hashtag screw the W2. I've gotten to look into a little bit and I love empowering that, the entrepreneurship, leaving the W2. That's my journey. So I'm excited to just talk shop with you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Yeah, I think a lot of people are content at best, hateful or hated at worst with their jobs, but just unwilling to take that leap. So it's like, well, why not share stories of myself and you and others that did make that leap and the pros, the cons, good, bad, and ugly.
Yes, yes.
So so with that way, maybe we can just start off with take us back to, what was your previous W2 job? What was it? What was an average day like for you?
Yeah. Thanks for asking that. I'm excited for this. But so I'll go all the way back briefly, but I didn't grow up with a whole lot of money. And so
Okay.
money was always a pain point for me. And
Mhm.
so from a young age, I looked around, I'm like, okay, who makes money? These businessmen. Okay, I
Yeah.
got to get the grades and go to business school because if I can become a businessman, I'll make money and I'll be happy and all will be well.
Yep.
So I got the grades in school, worked hard enough to get the grades to get into business school. I got my master's degree in finance because in business school, I'm like,
Okay.
wow, accounting is way too boring for me. I don't
Hey,
like it.
yep.
But finance, okay, I can dig finance. And so I got my master's degree in finance actually while playing football, and it worked out well because I was able to get a scholarship. I'm like, this is best of both worlds. I can play football, delay getting a job, and
Yeah.
get my master's paid for. And but the time came, I graduated, football ended, and it was like, all right, I got to go into the working world. I
Hmm.
had interned on Wall Street. I grew up in the Boston area. I'd
Okay.
interned on Wall Street, and I remember looking around because I would always like study successful people and I would look at whose lives I wanted.
Hmm.
And the guys in their 40s and 50s on Wall Street, even though I was young, I was, 20, however old I was like, I don't want to be them. I don't want
Yep.
to, I don't, 20 years from now, I don't want to be them. They make a ton of money. They have a house in the Hamptons, all the things, but like they aren't, and I'm generalizing, but
Yep.
they aren't happy or fulfilled in the way that I would want to be. And they aren't
Right.
as present and they may not be as healthy. And the lifestyle choices, Wolf of Wall Street isn't totally off basis. I know it's a
Right.
movie, but like it's based on truths. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to go to Wall Street, but why don't I do Wall Street kind of in the Boston area, which is less aggressive?
Sure.
And so I went into kind of appraisals, asset valuations, and eventually settled in at a credit fund.
Okay.
And it was really good experience. And I look back now, 10 plus years later, over a decade later, and I really appreciate the experience. But I got into that credit fund and it was the typical day to day. I worked in Boston. I'd get there. I'd always try and get there before my bosses, which was maybe like 7:30 or so, and stay later than my bosses, which was maybe
Yep.
7 p.m. So not crazy, a 12-hour day or so, maybe 60
Mm.
hours a week, sometimes on the weekends. But you realize it's kind of just, you're sitting there. I'm doing financial models. I'm doing the things. I'm working on projects. We would sometimes go to what we call the war room or the deal room and talk
Hmm.
through deals. And actually, I look back and appreciate so much because it was second lien financing. It made me get really creative on how to structure deals. And now, as an investor, I really appreciate everything I learned. So I think gratitude is a big part of life and what you appreciate. So I look back now and really appreciate my experience, even though I knew I wasn't long for it because I realized I was working for someone else, their business, their dream, their equity.
Yep.
I was just kind of a piece of the puzzle. And I remember having those conversations like, I want to be the boss. I want to be you. But my
Hmm.
boss was like, the CEO was like 45. He wasn't really that close to retiring. And I could see the writing on the wall. And I started to think, where am I going to be in 5 years? I'll have a better paycheck, better salary, better things, but I'll generally a better title, but I'll generally be
Hmm.
in the same place. And so the typical day to day it was working on deals. It was in Excel. It was financial modeling. It was going through deals and stuff, but it was mundane. And it was like,
Hmm.
am I making an impact? Like I'm kind of waiting to get off work and waiting for the weekend. And
Yep.
sometimes I work on weekends and waiting for my 2 weeks vacation that had to get approved. It just
Yep.
realized, after I put my head down and got to the place where I wanted to be, where I was making the six figures, and I was like, I made it to where I wanted to be as a child, but I'm a happy guy. I didn't
Mhm.
hate what I did. But I was like, I'm not fulfilled. This is what I swear I set out to go. Like, this isn't it. This isn't the answer.
Exactly. No, I think we can all empathize and have, similar journeys, like you said. And, just I remember those days too, just you don't want to say begging, but it's just like I've worked my butt off for 60, 70 hours a week. Can I please get 2 weeks vacation? And it's like, asking for blessing from the Pope and the Dalai Lama just to get it
100%.
authorized.
Oh, I remember feeling so nervous asking for vacation. I'm like, this is wrong. Like,
Yeah.
why do I feel so bad about this?
Yeah, exactly. So now Wade, was there like I know you mentioned you kind of just realized, hey, I'm here, but I'm not all that happy and working weekends, 60-hour weeks, etc. But was there like any, one pivotal moment that stands out like this was the moment that said, yeah, I don't think I'm cut out for this. Whether it was entrepreneurship or what, but you just realized, yep, this isn't for me.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%. I think of one clear moment, and I think moments and the decisions you make in those moments can change your life. Like,
Mhm.
there's a day your life changes, and there's
Yep.
a lot of those days. There can be a few days, but as for me, from going from corporate America into entrepreneurship, or their first seed that planted, I remember there was a day. So I was kind of on the younger side, and I was a VP, and I was mostly working, my team members, and we'd go on deals, and we'd go to New York, and we'd go to all these places and sit in investor meetings and all this stuff, and with companies. And everyone was older than me, and they would have their like kind of typical Jose Bank suit on, like shark gray, black, or navy blue,
Yep.
like white shirt, like not fitted, not tailored, nothing, just very normal. And I would, I love fitness and working out, and I would have a tailored suit. It'd be like light gray or some kind of coloring, kind of, or maybe a lighter blue or a royal blue kind of. And I remember one day my boss, he pulls me aside after a meeting, and I would come in like I wanted to look good. I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be like,
Yep.
I'm here. I know I'm just the support guy running all the numbers, and you guys are doing most of the talking, but I want to be remembered and I want to stand out. And a
Mhm.
part of that was your presence, how you walk in a room, your energy, even how I looked. And so I took pride in that. And he pulled me after the meeting. He pulled me aside. He goes, "Dude, you need to no more of these tailored suits that are off, that are light gray." He goes, "I need you to go get a suit from Jose Banks or somewhere. Don't get it tailored, and it needs to be dark gray,
Oh,
black,
jeez.
or navy blue." He goes, "You just fit in, like
Wow.
just fit in." And that I've realized has always been probably my deepest fear, is just being average or just fitting in or living a mediocre life. It really is what pushes me and drives me to do the things I do in my life, is because I have a fear of that, of living life in just that mediocrity, right? And so when he
Mhm.
said that, it was just, I had those thoughts and those feelings of, I want more out of life than this, and I want a different
Yep.
life. Didn't know what steps to take, but that moment was like, whoa, okay, this is coming to an end sooner than I thought. They're
Yep.
just asking me to fit in this box, and that's
Mhm.
just not me. And so from there, I we eventually moved offices. I would take a boat to work, and I exchanged being on email or responding to things, or responding, or being on social media, or just wasting time on the boat, to reading, to listening to podcasts about entrepreneurship or health, or learning, to
Yep.
learn, to pouring into myself. And it really opened up this whole world of personal development and growth for me. And so things just started to shift. But it was that moment, like, hey, can you fit in and get this just black suit? And I
Yep.
was like, whoa, okay, things are going to change here. So that was my moment. I didn't quit
Gotcha.
that day. It
Right.
took another year, but the seed had been planted, and I started harvesting it.
Gotcha. So with that seed being, planted, then going to harvesting from that, once you had that moment, yep, I'm not gonna fit in, I'm not gonna, pick one of three suits and that's it. From that point on, how long did it take you to escape the rat race at that point?
Good question. It was probably about a year, 12 to 18 months. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly, but I remember that moment. And I moved to California and I told
Okay.
them, hey, I actually just took a risk. I'm like, we were a smaller company. There's like 10 of us and I was a VP. So, and I had a good relationship with them. I didn't want to burn any bridges. So I was like, hey, I'm
Sure.
going to move. I'm willing to work remote. I'm willing to come back. I'm willing to train the person to take my place. But I had kind of told them like, hey, look, I'm moving to California. I want to build my own thing. I want to build my own business. I'm not looking to leave you overnight, but just I planted that seed then with them. I was like, I'll work through this with you. And they were like, cool, we need you. We're raising a fund. Investors need to see everything in place. And so I moved to California. And then I started to see people's lives where I was like, I like their life. I like their life. And I realized they were surfing at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I'm like, and I'm coming from Boston, the Northeast, highly educated, highly corporate. And I'm like, what do these people do all day? Why are they just walking around at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday? Like, don't they
Yep.
work? And I started to realize, oh my gosh, it's more entrepreneurial, it's more
Hmm.
business ownership. And the successful people, they probably worked harder than I did just on their own terms, on their own time for something they were building themselves and
Hmm.
probably passionate about. So I started to look at people's lives I wanted to be like, okay, I got to model after them.
Hmm.
But I started to take the steps and really lean more into that world and podcasts and things like this and reading books and surrounding myself with those people and mentorship. And gosh, it is such a it was probably 12 to 18 months, and they knew it was very open that I was like sunsetting in
Hmm.
corporate America, which was cool. And it's a great story, which I think we'll get to, but it probably took
Okay.
12 to 18 months, and it was getting in the more books I read, the more people I met, the more entrepreneurs I
Hmm.
surrounded myself with, the more people I surrounded myself with that had the life that I was looking to live. It just started to click more and more, and it started to seem more possible.
Perfect. Sounds good. Now you had mentioned Wade, obviously 12 to 18 months when you made that exit, or as you put it, your corporate career was sunsetting. So do you remember, do you by chance remember the exact date of when that sun finally set and you were no longer a W-2 employee?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date, but oh my
Okay.
gosh, it's such a good story. It was, when was it? August 2019.
Okay.
So
Oh, 1 month before me.
yeah, coming up on 4 years ago. And
Okay.
so I had actually hired a business coach. I was listening to a podcast on the way home from New York back to California. I was at a work meeting in New York and I was listening to this podcast. And I don't think things come into your life by accident.
Hmm.
And it was this guy, Nick Unsworth, and he was a business coach and he was on Entrepreneurs on Fire. I don't know if you've heard of that
Yep, I
podcast.
heard that one. Yep.
Yeah, really, really good entrepreneurial podcast. And I was like, whoa, I like this guy. I think we're attracted to people's energy and like
Hmm.
just what the energy they put out. And certain people are attracted to certain other people's energy. And I
Hmm.
really resonated with him. And I'm like, gosh, I like this guy. I got to look him up. I look him up. He lives in San Diego. I'm flying into the San Diego airport. He's actually doing an event that weekend. And I was literally flying in and I'm like, I got to go to this event. So I land, I call my wife and I'm like, hey, can I go to this event in San Diego, like right off the plane? She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's me really good. It's this business coaching guy, Nick. I just heard him on the podcast. She's like, okay, I trust you. So I roll in my suit off of Wall Street right into the event.
Wow.
The last day, it was a 3 day event. I rolled in on day three. He's kind of like, there was a couple hundred people there. He's kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, well, it's cool that you came. And by the end of the day, I was inspired. I was like, I just need to make a decision, take action. I think this guy can help me. He's done what I'm looking to do. I
Hmm.
don't even know what business I want to start yet, but I think he can help me. And he does his offer at the end. He's like, it's $15,000 to work with me one on one. It's six
Wow.
months business coaching. And I just walk up to him and I'm like, do you want to check? Like, or how do you want to do this? And I hired him on stage on the spot. And he was
Wow.
a little bit mind blown. And that was the first like decision where I was like, I'm burning the ships. Like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
do this. I'm hiring someone to help shortcut the process. Because what I've realized in business, really the only shortcut is mentorship or coaching from someone who's done
Yep.
what you're looking to do. Otherwise, there's no shortcuts. You just gotta do it.
Exactly.
So I start working with him and I start setting goals and I feel imposter syndrome and I'm like, you're a business coach? What is that? Like, I could do that. I like business. I
Yeah.
like people. And I start working with him to, I guess, to become a business coach. Right around the same time, my wife is like, okay, I'm over real estate. She was a business broker at the time. She was more
Okay.
an entrepreneur. I was more a maid entrepreneur. And I had to learn it, trained. And she was just trying to find something she was passionate about. And so she does this health and wellness program, loves it. It changes her health. It starts to change her, just everything about her. And she starts that as a business, a network marketing company with a 40-year-old brand called Arbonne. And so she starts that, and I'm like rooting for her. And I remember she's like, will you look at the business plan and compensation plan with me? I'm like, oh wow. And I had no preconceived notions about network marketing or anything like that. No one ever approached me on it. I had no bad experience with it. And I just look at the business model from my business knowledge. And I'm like, babe, this is genius if you want to become an entrepreneur. I think it's turnkey entrepreneurship. There's no investment. You've owned a brick and mortar business before. You know how much that costs. You know
Yep.
how long it takes to profit. You know it's managing employees. You know the overhead.
Hmm.
You know all that. You could be profitable on day one. This is turnkey. Like, you don't have to
Yep.
hold inventory. You can leverage yourself. You can just share these products you love and use, or you can leverage yourself by building a team. I'm like, it's efforts based. It's you on your time. You're your own boss. It's a 1099.
Hmm.
She says, say no more, runs with it. I'm rooting her on, and I'm like, I'm going to become a business coach. And oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's so funny how it all worked. I'm like, okay, what do I love? I love health and wellness. I love business. I love people. I love
Hmm.
leadership. Okay, I'll do this business coaching thing. During that 6 months, I'm watching my wife flourish in this opportunity. And she's like, do it with me. I'm like, no, it's awesome, but it's your thing. It's 90% women. I'm like, babe, I played football my whole life. I was on Wall Street. I was in finance. I'm around all guys my whole life. I can't just go work with 90% women. That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
It won't work well. I can't also go from Wall Street to this network marketing opportunity in health and wellness with all these women. Like, come on. But every day I see her growing. I see her making an impact. I eventually start coaching on the side. This is all a long time alongside my full-time job. I'm working East Coast hours on the West Coast. I'm up super early. I'm working by 5, but I'm off by like 4. And then I'm working on the passion projects after hours. I start coaching like 6 people or so. It's cool. I'm cutting my teeth in coaching. My wife starts leveraging herself where she helps other people start businesses. She's helping dozens of people. And then I'm like, she's helping over 100 people every month start
Wow.
businesses or go through healthy living programs. And impact was a big thing for me. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It's cool I'm helping these 6, but she's
Hmm.
now helping directly and indirectly hundreds. So the whole
Hmm.
time she's like, babe, do this with me. We could represent as the couple. We could make it different. You could come in with your business expertise and really make this a business and not just look like this little work from home thing. And so it took me 6 months of watching her, but I partnered with her in that network marketing opportunity because I was
Okay.
like, I want to be a business coach and a health coach. And that's what she does and she's doing, and she's leveraging herself and making a huge impact.
Wow.
So I start with her after hours of my finance job. I'm working on that side hustle. And you see the vision and the clarity where this vehicle can bring my life, where I wanted to become a parent. I wanted to be present. I wanted to be passionate about what I did. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to help people. It was just a vehicle to help me live that life. And I remember we did like a opportunity video, and I was super passionate about this. And it was me and her and my wife. And she puts it on LinkedIn. This is my last day. And she goes, babe, it's not getting a lot of traction. Will you like it? I didn't really know how LinkedIn worked at the time.
Yep.
I like it. It blows out to my whole network. Meanwhile, we're raising a $500 million fund. All
Wow.
our investors, Wall Street, our lawyers, our investment bankers, my company sees this, and they're like, so next day I get a call and they're like, this is HR. I'm like, we don't have HR. They're like, I know, but we need, this is official. It's being recorded. It's like the CFO. He's like, I have to terminate you today. I just shut off your email and your laptop and your computer. You have to send it all in like effective immediately.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa, what's with this official? Like, that wasn't our culture. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Because we were working on how long I would stay to see the
Yeah.
end of the fund. And they were like, we saw that video and our investors saw it. And they're like, how is your VP building this other thing? Because they didn't understand what it was.
Sure.
part-time, it was after hours.
Yeah.
We knew you were working on something, but like, do you sleep past VP at both companies? I'm like, no, it's not a corporate
Right.
stand. This is what it is. And they're like, oh, okay, we get it now. We still have to fire you because our investors are all red flags, whatever. And so
Gotcha.
rug got pulled out from under me like in a day.
Wow.
And I remember my wife's like celebrating. I'm like, babe, what do I do all day? Like I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur yet.
Yep.
But I got pushed off a cliff. And I think that for those people listening who want to get out of the rat race or the W-2, there's a defining moment where you're standing at the edge of the cliff and you just got to jump. I got pushed. I was prepping to jump. I just got pushed
Yeah.
off. And when you jump or get pushed off, you're free falling. Your gut goes woof. It goes through your mouth or your butt. And you just feel like, oh my gosh, it's scary. I'm free falling. I don't know what I'm doing. You hit rocks on the way down. You get bruised and battered. But eventually, if you stick with it, your wings spread and you start to be like, whoa, okay, I got this. And you start to glide. And eventually you can soar if you stick with it. But that's kind of my long story longer last day in corporate, just that moment.
Wow.
My back was against the wall. We go from two income family to one.
Yep.
And I'm like, Dave, we got to build this big. We got to
Yeah.
help people. What I've realized in my opportunity in network marketing, I'm only successful if I can help a lot of other people be successful. I
Mhm.
didn't understand that early on, but 4 years in now, I'm like, a lot of people right now are looking for side hustles or side
Yep.
incomes, maybe an extra 500 to 2,000 a month. If I can
Mhm.
help them be successful, it'll add to my success a little bit. Some people want
Right.
to make 6 figures a month or 5 figures a month. I can help them do that too. But if I focus on other people, some people want to get
Mhm.
healthy through healthier products. If I focus on them, I'll be successful. So it's been almost 4 years in that now, which has been just an amazing journey. It has not been easy working with my wife or with mainly women, but I've learned a ton. And it's been a catalyst and an angel investor for me to go start my own real estate and venture capital fund and stay in finance, but on my own terms, start my own
Mhm.
podcast, I started a brand called Big Dad Energy, just empowering proud dads, and it's swag and it's fun and it's retreats. But that's long story longer. The sunset in corporate into entrepreneurship.
That's all right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it was I want to say it was Zig Ziglar. I should know this, but the one quote, you can get everything in life that you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm
Yes.
the same way. I try to do that as, uh, live that and do that through others as well. So, Wade, thinking back and, as you said, you kind of went from, yeah, maybe I'll leave month, 2 months, whatever, to, okay, I'm fired. Now what do I do? But
Yep.
looking back, do you have any regrets or anything you do miss from your W-2?
Definitely no regret. No regrets, right? But
Okay.
looking back, now that I'm an entrepreneur and I employ other people and I work with other people, I see I had an employee mindset, which is basically just like show up to work, do your
Yep.
job, do it well enough to like lead the way and get promoted and get the raise and get the things. I didn't think like an entrepreneur. I didn't think, how can I make this company better? How can I
Right.
be proactive? Oh my gosh, I just finished this deal. Should I just chill? I realize most people can't sit at a desk for 8 hours and work all day.
Yep.
An amazing employee might be productive during 4 of those 8 hours, probably more like two or three. And I think COVID and the pandemic exposed that.
Yep.
Looking back with what I know now, I think I was a great employee, but how I could have been better and molded and shaped myself for entrepreneurship more is like to put myself in the CEO's shoes and the equities shoes and be like,
Mm.
how can I add value to this company? And I did, of course, but how can I go above and beyond my responsibilities? I
Mhm.
think the second thing is I was so grateful for two incomes when I was moonlighting the passion project and day job during the day. I was grateful for two incomes.
Mhm.
About 2 weeks before I got fired, I realized there was a shift. I just stopped being grateful. I was like, man, I'm just done with this. Like I'm working a lot on things and I just want to do the passion project and I stop being grateful. When you stop being grateful for something, it usually gets taken from you. Maybe not the
Yep.
next day. It was 2 weeks. It was pretty quick for me. But I
Yep.
realized, whoa, I stopped being grateful and it was gone. So gratitude for what you're learning along the way, because when I was in it, I didn't realize. But now when I go to structure real estate deals, venture capital deals, any deal really, I'm like, wow, I got such good knowledge and expertise in that area. I'm so
Mhm.
grateful for my experience. And I'm so grateful I know what it was like to be an employee because it helps me with my perspective now as a CEO and an entrepreneur. And so gratitude is huge. And just thinking like an entrepreneur as an employee, you will climb the ranks so fast unless you're in a culture that doesn't want that, that is scared,
Right.
threatened by that. But if you're in a good culture, like you will grow so fast if you add value to the company beyond your job responsibilities.
Yep, exactly. And I don't not to get on the whole political tangent, but I always kind of chuckle. It's like, well, I deserve a raise or I should get paid more, yada, yada, yada. It's like, if you want to get paid more, just add more value. It's really
Exactly.
that simple. But, there's a mindset like, well, I've been here X number of years, or I have, 5 degrees on my wall. That should just automatically give me a 100% raise or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. So, wait, now on the flip side, and like you said, you're coming up on year 4 of being a full blown entrepreneur. No side hustle, no steady income on the side, if you will. This is just kind of all in. Looking back over the last 4 years, what's been the best part of this entrepreneurial journey for you?
Oh my gosh. I think one, it's been amazing because you really have to have a vision as an entrepreneur. You have to have a crystal clear vision for where you're going, what you want your life to look like. The vision is usually, what do I want my life to look like? For
Yeah.
some people, it's like, what is this massive impact I want to make in the world? When you focus on the impact and helping other people, the money comes. But it's been amazing to see kind of the vision come into fruition where I work from home or wherever I want in the world with my wife. I'm very present. We have a 17-month-old daughter.
Oh,
Um,
congrats.
Thank you. And we're due in June with our second. And I've been there for every moment. Yeah, I went
Yep.
to the conference in Alabama. That was the first time I left my daughter. It was 4 days last year. And I was like, oh, and I cried. But I realized it was a choice. I didn't have to
Yeah.
do it. And so that freedom and now my purpose, my passion is helping other people achieve and get that. But I think what I've learned or the biggest learning lessons are like looking back, you realize you appreciate almost the hard times or what feels like the failures. I think the only way to fail is to quit. It's
Yeah.
only failure if you don't get up and learn from it. But
Hmm.
the strife and the struggle is where there's the most growth. And right on the other side of that struggle, there's like a higher, better version of you that's doing more, that's bigger, that's more impact. But you have to be willing to see that through. And so when sometimes we're in it, we're in the W2, we're like, oh my gosh, how do I
Hmm.
get out of this? But we're working towards the passion or the side hustle. It's like stay the course, keep focusing on growing as a person, because what happens, especially in entrepreneurship, is you grow as a person and an individual and your impact grows and your business and the money there's a lag, there's a delay, but it follows suit. But it needs to see you go first. And
Hmm.
the world, the universe, your creator, God, whoever it is, needs to see you decided and going for it and really with a decided heart. And then everything opens up for you. But they need to see you go for it without any proof. And I think as an employee, I need to see it, right? For me to
Yep.
believe. As an entrepreneur, I need to see it in my mind first before I can even hold it in my hand to bring it to life.
Right.
It's been those struggles. And right now I feel like I'm in another, new levels, new devils, right? But I'm in another struggle where we're about to have another kid. I'm focused. We're expanding huge in our business globally. We're going for
Wow.
big things, but it's a lot of stress and pressure. We just hired an au pair. She got homesick. She went home. We have no childcare. I'm like, all those people building businesses and things and lives without childcare, you are absolutely epic because it's very hard for me to do. But
Yeah.
the past few weeks. We just moved from California to Colorado. So all these
Okay.
stress on the vine produces the best wine. So when we're in those
Nice.
moments of like struggle, know that like, oh wait, this is a lesson. This is an obstacle to make me stronger. If I ask for strength, I'm going to get given opportunities. I'm going to be brought to my knees to be given opportunities to become stronger. And so that's what I've realized. And it's so much easier to look back on. But even in one of those chapters right now, I'm like trying to have that perspective.
Yeah, no, makes sense. So, wait, just looking back, obviously, with your journey, and I've had, numerous guests on this show where, kind of like you said, share the good, the bad, the ugly, the fear moments, the success moments, everything. For any listener out there that, maybe is inspired, like, gosh, I really want to do, whatever, start a business, invest in real estate, start a wellness or coaching company or whatever, but gosh darn, I'm stuck in my job. Like, pick the reason. I need to stay here because of the healthcare, or I'm comfortable here, or I'm the sole breadwinner of the family, or pick your reason, if you will. What would you say to them as far as maybe words of encouragement to take that first step, even though they feel stuck in their W-2 job?
Yeah. I think everything has served you up until this point. You're at the right place at the right time. It's not too late. And the reason you feel unsettled in your soul is because you were meant for more and something else, or maybe to lean into your gifts and whatever it is. And we got to listen to that. And because it starts out as whispers, just like, hey, this isn't for you. Like, you can do more. Or, hey, these aren't your gifts that were bestowed upon you. Like, you got to lean into those. It just starts as whispers. But if we ignore it, it starts getting louder and louder, and then it's yells. And then it's like screaming at you, like, and you're fully unsettled in your soul and your job. But words of encouragement, yeah, action and activity and movement is the best antidote for being quote unquote stuck, right? We're not stuck. We're not a tree. You can
Mhm.
move. We
Yep.
can all move. We all got ability, or most of us are privileged enough to be able to move. And it's just that first step. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. We think it has to be quitting or whatever. It's no, it's start listening to the Screw the W2 podcast. It's pick up the book. It's surround yourself with people doing what you want to do. It's go to the networking meeting. It's go to the conference. It's hire the coach. What's the next best step for you? It's just moving. It's getting into action, but it's decisiveness. It's decided. It's making a decision. I think I heard Tony Robbins literally this morning say, decision is Latin for cut off. When you make a true decision in your heart, you cut off any other option, right? Any other.
Yep.
So when you make a decision like, I'm not deciding to leave my job today, but I'm deciding I'm going to leave my job. Maybe you set a date to it. And here's my next best step. It can be small. It can be
Mhm.
really small, but just activity is the best antidote for feeling stuck.
Okay. I like that. Like you said, decision is, cutting off where there's, maybe the point of no return, someone else. I remember one of my friends finally, decided to go skydiving. That was a big fear of her for years. And I just think after that, it's like, you step out the plane. It's not like you can, I changed my mind. I'm going to go back, just crawl back into the plane. You're kind of on your own. So, making that decision, just go for it. I think, speaks volumes. So
Yeah.
as we close this out, Wade, and again, I want to thank you again for taking the time to share your story with my guest. I call this the unscrewed moment, if you will. But if there's anything, that you want to share, how my listeners can, reach out to you, find out what you're doing, maybe even, reach out for business coaching, or, even anything you want to share that you're excited about for the rest of 2023.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm grateful for you, John, for creating this space, for helping people. This is amazing. I'm grateful to be a part of this, and thank you for inviting me on. I love people. I love connecting with people. I love hearing their stories. I love connecting authentically. Like that's my thing. And let's see, it's funny. The world's shifted, right? The best way to
Mhm.
connect with me is not like email or my work number or anything like that. I do have a website, but honestly, the best way to connect with me is on Instagram, probably
Okay.
at Wellnesswithwade. I'll send this to John too. We also have a website, my wife and I. We do everything together. It's not easy, but we love it and it's worth it. So we have a podcast called Getting Magnetic with Sandy and Wade. I'll send that link to John as well. And then we have our website, which kind of shows everything we do, and that's sandyandwade.com. But I honestly, if you have Instagram, best place, find me there. Shoot me a
Okay.
DM. I'd love to connect with you. And I think I'm just so excited for this year and beyond. I think we are headed into economic winter, but I think with that is a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And I know in my industry, there's a ton of growth because a lot of people are looking for extra streams of income or to leave a
Mhm.
job they don't like, or some people lose their job. And so
Yep.
there's a lot of expansion and growth on the horizon, I think, and I'm really preparing for that. But basically, I'm just excited, and I'm excited to connect with anyone who's looking for more or looking for an opportunity to just take that next step.
Perfect. Sounds good. And for all those listening, I'll have those links and also tag Wade's YouTube channel so you could reach out, or obviously, like you said, just go to Instagram, Wellness with Wade. Again, Wade, thanks again for reconnecting. It was fun to touch base, and thanks for sharing your story of how you said screw the W-2.
Yeah, thank you, John. Have an epic rest of your day.